Vrindavan Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajikacharya Sotira Siddhashi Srimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 29, Text 18. ādhyātmikānuśravaṇān ādhyātmikānuśravaṇān nāma-saṅkīrtanāc me nāma-saṅkīrtanāc me ārjavenārya-saṅgena ārjavenārya-saṅgena nirahaṅkriyayā tathā nirahaṅkriyayā tathā ādhyātmikānuśravaṇān nāma-saṅkīrtanāc me ārjavenārya-saṅgena nirahaṅkriyayā tathā. Others? Vaishnavis. Ādhyātmika, spiritual matters. Anuśravaṇāt, from hearing. Nāma-saṅkīrtanāt, from chanting the holy name. cha, and, may, my. Ārjavena, with straightforward behavior. Ārya-saṅgena, with association of saintly persons. Nirahaṅkriyayā, without false ego. Tathā, thus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A devotee should always try to hear about spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple, and although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of persons who are not spiritually advanced. Purport. In order to advance in spiritual understanding, one has to hear from authentic sources about spiritual knowledge. One can understand the reality of spiritual life by following strict regulative principles and by controlling the senses. To have control, it is necessary that one must be nonviolent and truthful, refrain from stealing, abstain from sex life, and possess only that which is absolutely necessary for keeping the body and soul together. One should not eat more than necessary. He should not collect more paraphernalia than necessary. He should not talk unnecessarily with common men, common men, and he should not follow the rules and regulations without purpose. He should follow the rules and regulations so that he may actually make advancement. There are 18 qualifications mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, among which is simplicity. One should be without pride. One should not demand unnecessary respect from others. One should be non-violent. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa. One should be very tolerant and simple. One should accept the spiritual master, and one should control the senses. These are mentioned here and in the Bhagavad Gita as well. One should hear from authentic sources how to advance in spiritual life. Such instructions should be taken from the Acharya and should be assimilated. Just going to do a quick count. Okay. It is especially mentioned here, nāma-saṅkīrtanāc. One should chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Either individually or with others. Lord Chaitanya has given special stress to chanting these holy names of the Lord as the basic principle of spiritual advancement. Another word used here is ārjavena, meaning without diplomacy. A devotee should not make plans out of self-interest. Of course, preachers sometimes have to make some plan to execute the mission of the Lord under proper guidance, but regarding personal self-interest, a devotee should always be without diplomacy, and he should avoid the company of persons who are not advancing in spiritual life. Another word is ārya. Aryans are persons who are advancing in knowledge of Krishna consciousness as well as in material prosperity. The difference between the Aryan and the non-Aryan, the Sura and the Asura, is in their standards of spiritual advancement. Association with persons who are not spiritually advanced is forbidden. Lord Chaitanya advised asatsanga tyaga. One should avoid persons who are attached to the temporary. Asat is one who's too, asat is one who is too materially attached, who is not a devotee of the Lord, and who is too attached to women or enjoyable material things. Such a person, according to Vaishnava philosophy, is a persona non grata. Unwelcome person, in case you don't know that. A devotee should not be proud of his acquisitions. The symptoms of a devotee are meekness and humility. Although spiritually very advanced, he will always remain meek and humble, as Kaviraj Goswami and all the other Vaishnavas have taught us by personal example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that one should be humbler than the grass on the street and be more tolerant than the tree. One should not be proud or falsely puffed up. In this way, one will surely advance to spiritual life. Om Agyanatamaram Dasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. So this is what you call a tall order. A lot of stuff. I mean, if you're listening carefully, there must have been at least a dozen. One should. You know, a devotee should. One should. One should. It's a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of different rules, regulations, qualities, standards that are, you know, that are being presented here. That, and the devotee is expected to follow all these. So, that's interesting, especially when you consider in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 4, Lord Krishna says, Dambo darpo bimanascha kroda porusham evacha agyanam shabijatasya parta sampadam asurim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to the demoniac nature, O son of Pratha. And in the last sentence of the purport, Prabhupada says, these demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the very beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Okay? So, in other words, for a lot of us, not all of us, but you know, for a lot of us, myself included, this is our starting point. This was our, I'll speak for myself, okay, because I don't want to offend anybody else. This was my starting point. Starting point was that from in the womb of my mother, these qualities were already there, and as I grew, they manifest. I manifested all these inauspicious qualities. And nobody had to teach me how to become a demon. I automatically knew. It was just spontaneously revealed to me as I grew up. You see? So this is the starting point. I mean, some of you here are Nityasiddha, you know, eternal associates of Lord Chaitanya coming to assist him in the spreading of the Sankirtan movement. But for many people who are coming to the Krishna consciousness, that's the starting point. So that's a pretty, you know, that's pretty far away. Pretty far away from what we just heard in today's translation and purport about the, you know, the standard, the proper standard for a devotee. You start there and you got to go to there. Woo! That's a long journey. But so how is it possible? I mean, it's obviously, you know, it's challenging, but I mean, it sounds like overwhelming, but it's not. It is possible. It is possible. And how it's possible is this. To go from what I just read, if that, as I said, that might not be applied to you, but it definitely applied to me, to go from that starting point to what we heard in today's purport, and here's the hope. This is an excerpt from a lecture Prabhupada gave probably back 1966 or 7, on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he said, it's in that section where Lord Chaitanya is meeting with the Prakashananda Saraswati and all the Mayavadi sannyasis. So goes, so the Mayavadis philosophers of Benares, after hearing the explanation of Vedanta Sutra from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very much satisfied. Se haite sanyasira piri gela mana. Their mind turned. Oh, this is the real explanation. Krishna. Krishna nam sarakadaye grahana. Now they also began to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Emete tan sabada shama aparada. Sabakare Krishna nama kadila prashada. Here comes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excused all these offenders. Anyone who is godless, he is offender. So when they chanted Krishna, Krishna, and accepted the Vedanta philosophy according to the explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he excused them. So there's the hope. That if when we come in contact with the Krishna consciousness movement, if we accept the Vedanta philosophy, what Prabhupada has presented to us, and we chant Hare Krishna, then Lord Chaitanya excuses us. You get an opportunity to step outside your karma. It's like just kind of step outside your body. It's that type of an opportunity is being offered. Goes on. He excused them. That is the significance of Lord Chaitanya. He is very merciful. He excuses. Without excuse, how can he deliver the fallen souls of this age? Their condition is very precarious. Their duration of life is very small, and they are not very intelligent. Very slow to understand the importance of spiritual life. And even if they are a little bit advanced, they are under the clutches of so many so-called bogus societies. So therefore their condition is very precarious. So there is no other alternative than to excuse them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excused them. So there's the hope. Once again, the hope is that, despite, even if you did, that was our starting point. You say, if the shoe fits, wear it. But it's okay. When you come in contact with the Krishna conscious movement, if you're fortunate and humble enough, and if you just take it, take the mercy that Prabhupada was offering, then you can go from that starting point to progress towards what we were hearing about in today's purport. All those one shoulds, devotee shoulds, and you'll be able to do the whole thing. Why? How is that possible? It's like it's an incredible existential journey, and it's going uphill. Well, here's another point that will help us understand that. This is from the second canto Srimad Bhagavatam. I can't remember which chapter, but Prabhupada says in the purport, he says, for advancement of material knowledge, there is a need for personal ability and researching aptitude. But in the case of spiritual knowledge, all progress depends more or less on the mercy of the spiritual master. Ta-da! That's the big sentence right there. But in the case of spiritual knowledge, all progress depends more or less on the mercy of the spiritual master. The spiritual master must be satisfied with the disciple. Only then is knowledge automatically manifest before the student of spiritual science. See? So in other words, if somehow or another, once we come in contact with the bona fide spiritual master, and if we follow his instructions, he'll be pleased. And if he's pleased, then just what we just heard here, all spiritual knowledge becomes manifest to the student of spiritual science. All progress depends more or less on the mercy of the spiritual master. So that's the big hope. That's the big hope, that despite the fact that we might be starting, from behind the eight ball, so to speak, like what was described there in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when they come in contact with the Krishna consciousness movement, if they take it up, then there's every possibility of becoming elevated. Here, one of my famous crude analogies, just like, say you're trying to recover from an upper respiratory or flu or something like that, and the forecast is here in Los Angeles is for the next week, it's cloudy, rainy, and cold. So I got to get out of town. So you go to the airport and you get online, some airline, and when you get to the counter there, you're wanting to buy a one-way to Phoenix just to get out of the weather here, and it works out that everybody's trying to get out of town. There's no cheap tickets. They have just this, like, all they got left is a first-class ticket, and it's $800, and it's, and you were looking for to spend $80 to just grab a one-way, and you go, what, $800? Oh man, that's out of my budget, But the guy behind you, some nice elderly gentleman, he was listening to the whole thing, and he's sympathetic, and he says, oh, it's okay, I'll take care of it. And he hands his credit card to the ticket agent, and boom, you're on the flight, okay? Now, when you get on that flight, okay, you put your thing down, and you got a nice first-class seat there, because that's all that was left, and you go into the bathroom, and you decide, you know what, let me light up a cigarette, despite the fact that right there in the bathroom it says smoking is against the federal law. It's a federal offense to smoke in the bathroom in the airplane. And you're thinking, then you're a fool. You're a fool. You just got the mercy. You're sick. You're suffering. You're trying to get out of town. You don't have what's required to really do it. And somebody, by their mercy, is kind of shouting you the flight, and then you get in there, and you're going to jeopardize. You're going to jeopardize your chance to to save, to get out and get well again by doing something stupid like that. That's really dumb. You see, that's called becoming complacent. And I want to read a dictionary definition of that word, just to refresh our memories here. Yeah, being complacent means showing uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. That's like, we've got to really avoid that. Because, see, here's the thing, that even when what to speak of if being complacent, even when you're trying, even when we're really making an effort to advance in Krishna consciousness, Maya is looking for an opportunity to get us. I'll read you something here. Okay, the wrong one. Okay, so, no, wait a second. Here we go. Prabhupada says, this is an excerpt from a lecture. Prabhupada says, so this is the world. This is the world. As soon as you become, digresses. This is Maya's arrangement. As soon as she sees that this man is going out of my hand, she will put so many tribulations, and we have to tolerate them. So the point being that even when we're being sincere, Maya is out to get us. Prabhupada's saying here, as soon as she sees that this man is going out of, or woman, is going out of my hand, she'll put so many tribulations to try to trip us up, right? But, so, as I said, what to speak of being complacent, even when we're trying, we have to, Maya's there to try to, deviate us, throw us off course. So we really have to be very careful, vigilant. And on that point, Prabhupada, this is an excerpt from a lecture Prabhupada gave in Vrindavan, 1976, where he talks about how careful we have to be, and how, as we progress in spiritual life, we can't become complacent. We should never think that, okay, now I've made a bit of advancement, and I could relax, I can chill. I can just kind of cruise a little bit and she'll be right. No, wrong. Here, let me read you this. Prabhupada says, so if you want to be first-class yogi, always think of Krishna within your mind. Prabhupada says, do not make friendship with the mind, thinking that now I've become very much advanced. Now my mind is controlled. Prabhupada goes, it is not so easy, sir. He says, therefore it is warned, nāma-saṅkīrtanāc, never trust your mind, always distrust. In any moment, the mind can drag you. The example is given here. Sanskrit says, Lord Shiva, he is called Mahadev. Not only Dev, but Mahadev. He became captivated by seeing the young woman's incarnation, Mohini Murti. He became so much captivated. The description is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. As soon as Mohini Murti demonstrated the features of the breast, immediately Lord Shiva became so mad that he forcibly went there and embraced, and there was discharge. Prabhupada goes, Lord Shiva, and what to speak of us, what we are. And Prabhupada laughs. And then he goes, Lord Shiva is all right. He said, but by his example, by their example, they are teaching us like that. A personality like me became victimized. This is Lord Shiva's preaching through his example. A personality like me became victimized by this Maya's influence. What are you? Why you should, then Prabhupada saying again, why you should trust and make friendship with your mind, that now I am complete. Prabhupada goes, don't do that. It says, therefore it is warned, nāma-saṅkīrtanāc, never trust your mind, always try to control, and the easiest method recommended in the Shastra and confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva, 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 gatiranyata. Yeah. So that's the program. And we should always remember that we're like in recovery. I looked, anyway, I'll read you this. Prabhupada says, this is not, the internet says here, being in recovery means that someone is actively working on overcoming a condition or addiction, like substance abuse, by making positive changes in their life to manage their symptoms and improve their overall health and well-being, often including abstaining from the substance and adopting healthy coping. Yeah, the idea is we're in recovery, at least I'm in recovery, actively working on overcoming a condition or addiction, like whatever. So, yeah, how I got to look this up was I was thinking, like, what's going on? I'm minding my own business. These different material desires pop up. And, why? And then I was thinking, like, it's just like somebody's a drug addict or an alcoholic or something like that. They have to really work at overcoming that. And in the same way, we have to work at overcoming these material desires. And then I kind of was reflecting upon it. I was thinking, yeah, it's more than just some desires. I'm a demon. And that's why I kind of started reading that 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm a recovering demon. I was born with those qualities, and as I grew, they manifested. And now I'm spending the rest of my life, since I kind of figured out what was going on by Prabhupada's mercy, and that's how I see myself. I'm in recovery. As it says here, actively working on overcoming a condition, being a demon or whatever, and by making positive changes in my life, following Prabhupada's instruction, and trying to manage the whole thing and trying to dig my way out of it. So yeah, because ultimately what we're really after is a psychic overhaul. And that refers to a significant and complete change in someone's mental state or perspective. So that's the goal for me. I'm after a psychic overhaul. I want a significant and complete change in the way my whole approach, to my understanding of life, my experience of life, and I believe it's possible by Krishna consciousness. But I know that we really have to be serious about the whole thing. We have to be serious about following Prabhupada's instructions, the process. We really have to apply ourselves. But if we do, it's possible. It's possible to go from, demon to pure devotee in one lifetime. If we sincerely and seriously apply ourselves to the philosophy and the process. So I will stop there. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say or a question they'd like to ask? Oh, okay, Rabindranath. Hare Krishna. Okay, no problem. I can repeat it.
Hare Krishna.
I was reading right from the purport of the Bhagavatam.
Yeah, right from the Bhagavatam. So how does one understand that statement with other statements such as Krishna says, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions, I think it was in a lecture, that if you take one step towards Krishna, he'll take 10 steps towards you. So how would you understand all?
Okay, so ultimately, that's a good word, important word. Ultimately, everything is dependent, more or less, on the mercy of the spiritual master. But ultimately, it means we also have to try. There's one letter Prabhupada wrote to Brahmananda. He said, regarding Krishna's being kind upon you, should be upon like the principle that Arjuna followed. I'm paraphrasing here. Krishna never told Arjuna, hey, just sit down, take it easy, chill out, I'll take care of everything. No. He said Arjuna had to try to his best to, and he said, Papa said, we have to try our best to our best capacity to achieve something, but then all of a sudden we shall see everything is there. This sort of help from Krishna is transcendental happiness. So the idea is that devotee tries, but ultimately it's up to Krishna. It's not our effort. It's not an effort that's make that change. Transform us from demons to divines. No, it's not. Our effort has to be there, but ultimately it's Tesham eva. Well, actually, before that, Tesham satatam yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenam amupriyante. Krishna says to those who are constantly devoted, who try and worship me with love, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. And then he elaborates upon that in the next verse. He says, out of compassion upon them, I who am dwelling within their heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. See? So if a devotee, somebody takes to this thing and is sincere about it and tries, then Krishna can understand that, and Krishna helps. He elevates, he gives that devotee intelligence how to engage favorably in devotional service, and he purifies his heart, he changes his consciousness, he transforms him, he changes his life, he elevates him from whatever pathetic condition he was in to a much, much more elevated state of spiritual life. Make sense?
So, in other words, you're saying that if you don't try yourself, then Krishna won't give you the mercy.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, very unlikely. Prabhupada would give that example about, he would quote his spiritual masters, that if you fall in the well, and then, say somebody throws you a rope, and then you say, okay, just tie that rope around you, and we'll pull you out. And the person goes, well, hey, but I can't tie the rope. What can be done? You got to at least do that much. The rope is you're in the well, we're in the well, the rope is being thrown. At least we got to take the rope and tie it around our waist and where we pulled out. That much we got to do.
Thank you.
Jai Maharaj.
That's one lesson we can get from the Damodar Leela as well. Mother Yashoda made the effort to the extent that she was perspiring, her hair was coming undone, the garlands were falling out of her hair, etc. But however she tried, she came up 2 fingers too short. And eventually Krishna relented and allowed her to bind him. And it's the love behind that effort that moved Krishna to allow her to bind him. So we make an effort to attain grace. The 2 things are there.
The love behind that effort. I like that, the way you said that. That's it. You want to please continue? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, you said that. The love behind the effort. That's what, you know.
Well, at least, and for us
it
might just be desperation.
So you mentioned that Maya is always there to get you. I was thinking of the past time where Durga, she personally saves Jada Bharat because her devotees were trying to offer him in sacrifice to Durga, Kali.
Yeah.
So she personally came and, killed her own disciples or all her own followers to protect Jada Bharat from them doing that. So is it like, is there a stage like where you need to be, where Maya can just let you practice and, remember Krishna, be a devotee, or is there no place where Maya becomes favorable to you?
No, there's place. I mean, he was a pure devotee. So that's why she came and rescued him. But for the rascals, for those of us who are trying to we have to prove ourselves. And, her job is just, when I give this analogy before, I'll just super briefly give it again. I used to sell paintings, and I used to, go to big factories, and so the first thing is you hit the corporate office right up the front, and there's a secretary there, see? So and I was trying to get past her back into the offices to show all the office workers the paintings, because they'll do anything to take time off, and so anyway, I had to get past her. So her job was exactly to stop people like me from getting past her and just distracting all the office workers, you see? So that's Maya. Maya's job is to make sure that only people with legit business get into Krishna, get past her to see the managing director or all the workers. See, she doesn't want, so that's Maya. So she's just doing her job. And her job is to make sure that before somebody gets out of her clutches, they got to be squeaky clean. When you're squeaky clean, Maya will just go, all right, good on you. Have a good time in the spiritual world. But up until that point, she's like very vigilant and doing her job. She's a pure devotee. She knows how to do her job. Make sense? Yeah.
I understand from what you are saying is that one has to be like a pure devotee before Maya leaves you alone.
Prabhupada said something like that. That when you become a pure devotee, Maya will, right? She'll pay her obeisances and have a good time in the spiritual world. That's it.
So in short, sincerity means become a pure devotee.
Say it again.
In short, sincerity here will mean become a pure devotee.
Yeah, become a pure devotee. That's the solution.
Thank you.
Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.